Hey, and welcome back to another segment here on GEMS podcast. With me today is a special guest by the name of Sandy Joy Weston. And I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about her. And then you already know me, Miss Genesis Amaris Kemp, the founder and host of the platform. So let me tell you about my guest. She says her entire life she has been an entrepreneur owning and operating health and wellness centers. She has written a series of books and journals on train your head and your body will follow. She has hosted podcasts for over 10 years and she is a keynote speaker and she loves spreading joy, hence her middle name, Joy. So without further ado, please welcome Sandy Joy Weston, where her and I will be discussing mental and physical well-being today.
Well, hello and welcome to the show. I felt like, woohoo, this was great. I don't even remember that bio, but I love it. I love that I said my mission was to spread joy. That's a good thing to start with, right?
Absolutely. And before we dive into your subject matter expertise, Sandy, I definitely want to give the audience a chance to connect with you in a fun and personal way. So there are two options. And since you've been listening to the show, we can do either an icebreaker or rapid fire 10 question game. What are you in the mood for?
I love both, by the way. Brilliant. But I think I want to play a game.
Okie dokie. So we're playing rapid fire with Sandy and Genesis. Do 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 do. Question.
That's why I picked it, by the way. I just wanted to hear you sing. That's it. I'm good.
Oh gosh, and I'm so not a singer. I just like to jazz it up and have fun.
No, I love it. It makes it. It's great. All right, go ahead. Question one. Sorry.
Question one. If you could hop in a time machine and give younger Sandy a piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't second guess yourself. Every time that I just went for it and I tuned out all the negative chatter and noise, golden, amazing. I'm not saying it always landed, but I'm glad I went for it. And the few times that I held off, I still ended up doing it, but I wish I just would have went for it immediately. For example, I'll give you an example. Years ago, like years and years ago, my first health club opened up was 1993. And I was one of the first health clubs in Philadelphia area to have spin. Because back then, who's putting bikes in a black room and putting loud music with pumping lights on? And they thought I was wackadoo, but it obviously landed big. The second one was kettlebells. I heard about kettlebells, I forget what year, it had to be 2000. And it's not like they hadn't been around, but they weren't popular. And I was trying to convince my partner, why would we should pay all this money to have these iron balls shipped to us. And I worked it out and he finally was like, okay. And those are two things I did not hesitate on and ended up like down the road being worth it. There are other times that I hesitated and I wish I did. So I'd say, just don't do that.
Question two, favorite color?
Green. That was a quick one. Green.
Question three, favorite food?
Salads from my garden.
Ooh, okay. Healthy.
Yeah, anytime I can put my lettuce, my tomato, I'm in heaven. Not that I don't like pizza and cheesesteaks, but salads from my garden.
Question four, if you could be a fly on the wall and listen into any conversation, past or present, what conversation are you listening into?
I wanted to listen in on a conversation that somebody like Nelson Mandela was having with anyone. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how his mind works.
Question 5. What is Sandy's happy place?
Mm. Give me a mountain. Give me a mountain. That's my happy place.
Question 6. Dream car, dream home, or if you're like me, both.
Oh, I'm a Jeep girl, so I want a dream home. I'm always Jeeps.
Question 7. You just came across a windfall of cash. In order to get the rest of your proceeds distributed, you must contribute to 3 charities of your choice first. So what charities are you contributing to?
Ooh, one that helps the environment, like planting trees. I love trees. The second one would be for children in need or that are abused. And the third one would be a Back on Your Feet program to help people that are homeless get started in a job and also show them how just even moving can make them feel better.
Question 8. You just won an all expense paid getaway anywhere you want to go. And here is the kicker. They're not flying back to your home base for some time because the pilots have decided to go on strike. So, where are you heading?
Italy.
Question 9. If you could have lunch or dinner with any person, past or present, who are you sharing a meal with?
Oh, the Dalai Lama.
And question 10. It is our pass or play question. And here are the rules. If you choose to pass, our rules are reversed and you get to ask me a question. If you choose to play, I ask one last question to wrap up rapid fire. So, do you want to pass or play?
I'll pass.
Okie dokie. What is your question?
So, what is the thing that you like the most about hosting podcasts?
Ooh, that I get to talk to so many interesting, fun, and cool people and just get inside of their world for like 30 minutes.
Sounds good to me.
Amazing. And now we're going to get inside of Sandy's world. So you're in the mental and physical well-being space. And as you know, this month is actually Men's Health Awareness Month, as well as Pride and whatever else this month is. But I like the fact that we're focusing on men this month because we all know that some men hate going to the doctors and they don't really take care of themselves unless they have like a wife. And sometimes they'll be like, you're nagging me, you're nagging me. Okay, I'm gonna go so you can shut up or you can be quiet. And why do you feel that it's so important for us all to focus on our mental as well as our physical well-being?
Well, they go hand in hand. So for years, owning a health club, I used to say to people, fitness was my vehicle for people to feel good, to feel great, to feel good about themselves. That's why when I told you my mission was to spread joy, is anything I could do to get you into that positive, powerful mindset. And when you work out, anybody works out, whatever it is, you could just walk your dog. It immediately shifts, even in a few minutes, your perspective on life. So my big thing originally was, okay, just fitness, fitness, fitness. But as things have changed in the world, I see more of the need for the stigma about what you were talking about, addressing mental health issues. Anything I could do to get rid of that stigma about somebody willing to go, whether it's to a coach, a mentor, a therapist, or psychiatrist, I'm all about. Because for me, I'm ground level, like I'm entry level. I can work with things to help you so they don't get out of control. And I do a lot of things that are for prevention. But what I get to do, which is amazing, whether it's through my books or my coaching or my podcast, is bring awareness to your brain is different. Everyone's brain is different. And there are times that you may need, we all need to reach out to someone else or to talk to someone. So for me, that's why it's such a big thing, because there's nothing more important than your attitude. You could have the same life as somebody else, but with the attitude that you have, you could walk right out into the world and you're going to see things differently. Right? So
Absolutely.
it's two parts. One, I'm very adamant on you working on a daily basis, the things you can do in just a few minutes to shift that mindset to serve you well, that positive, powerful mindset. And then the second part is being okay that you need somebody else, or not need, but that it could really be a benefit for you to talk to somebody. And it's not like you have to be, extremely over the deep end. I think everybody could benefit from talking to someone. Everybody, because it's hard to see yourself.
Absolutely. I completely resonate with that. And whenever I think about mental and physical well-being, I think about the different elements. So mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and that complements the mind, body, and soul alignment. And if something is out of balance, then you're going to be out of balance and you're not going to be operating as your optimal self, because there is something going on inside of you that is allowing misfiring. And I like to use the car analogy because we've all driven an automobile. Is if your car misfires and you keep missing those warning signals, then your engine can blow up, your transmission can go out, or something major could go wrong because you didn't pay attention to the warning signals that were on the dashboard, because you're like, oh, I can make it. I can make it. And then now whenever you get to the mechanic and you have that whopping bill, you're like, dang, why didn't I pay attention? But all the signs were there. And it's kind of similar with our body. Our body is our temple, and it's so vital. Like our body sends us signals whenever something we eat doesn't agree with us. We'll get those stomach aches, those cramps. Some people have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Some people break out externally, whether it's rashes, hives, or etc. We'll get migraines, we'll feel fatigue, sluggish, or whatnot. But what did you put in your body, and what was your body's response to what you put into it? And then now I feel like sometimes we feel like we're like superhuman, and people don't take time to really relax, recharge, and rejuvenate, because we're go, 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 especially in this fast-paced society that we're in, Sandy. And you mentioned starting this since 1993. So when you started to where we are now, what are some of the biggest changes that you have seen in society and in your practice?
Oh, the biggest changes is that gradually, it's gradual, but people are aware that the mind and body is connected. When I first wrote my Train Your Head, Body Will Follow book, it took a year and a half to find an agent and another year and a half to find a publisher, because they were like, okay, this is just too wackadoo. And now it's pretty mainstream. So the biggest thing is whether we practice it or not, that's another issue. But I think many people are aware of the connection and what you were talking about, that if you take a step back, even just for a minute every hour, your body and your mind, if you listen to what's going on, it will tell you what you need. Now, do we always do that? No. But most people do see the benefit, which years ago, they would have been like, what? Not everyone, but it wouldn't have been mainstream. Now, if you say to people, okay, listen, this is what I want you to do. Just take a minute every hour, check in with your body, see what's going on, see how you're feeling. If you have to, get up, do a dance reset, go out and take a breath of fresh air, reset yourself. Take that breath in, even just for 60 seconds, to see what's going on and what could you do in this moment to get more in that positive, powerful place. Most people don't argue with you now. That's the big difference. And they know that's true. They sometimes just go, oh, I can't make the big difference. What's the big deal? And they just don't do it. But it's not like they're arguing with you, or they don't think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs anymore.
Oh, I love that, Sarah. And yes, I like that you talked about that gradual change because it is so, so true. Breath work is so important, like how you are breathing. And some people use the box method where you breathe in for
Yeah.
4, hold it, exhale, in and hold it, and then just do your hand like this and it becomes a box, or some people say the
Yeah.
square method.
Yeah.
Also practicing mindfulness and meditation. So some people will use guided meditation, some will go into a dark room. Like I like to be in a dark space because then it's like I'm calming down my nervous system and I'm really focusing on the moment at hand. Some people will use yoga as a way to, practice that mindfulness and etc. Getting out in nature too can definitely help because you're getting outside of your home, you're getting away from distractions, you're walking, you're jogging, you're doing something fun, or you're just smelling the fresh air, looking up at the
Yeah.
skies, reciting your gratitude, saying your affirmations, or etc. And then those little small steps, they may not be much to you, but they will be much to your body. And you'll start to see how your body begins to shift and enter into a new program and paradigm.
Absolutely. It's the small things. It's that minute to 2 minutes that you take throughout the day that has an impact over time. And it may not seem it, but I've made a living off of teaching people those things that only take 1 to 3 minutes. And at first you might hesitate and say, it can't make a big difference. But if you do it for 30 days, man, oh man, you'll be convinced.
So, Sandy, whenever you are working with some of the people within your RAM and scope based on your expertise, what are some of the things that people come to you for whenever you're in the mental and physical well-being space? Is it like nutrition? Is it holistic? Is it exercise?
It has switched. So I sold all my health clubs in 2019. When I was in the health club space, I was still teaching classes and doing a lot of keynote speeches. So people would more come to me for advice on their body. All right. The mental health was coming in the back door, but they were more coming in for the physical, it doesn't matter. For me, whatever way I get you, I'm going to do both and it all works out. But my side gig became my main gig since 2019. And with the shift of doing more virtually, people started coming to me originally for the fitness, but it ended up very, very quickly. It was more for the mental health. So it shifted. They were more wanting to figure out ways to deal with being overwhelmed and dealing with everyday's anxieties and stresses. And I was teaching them different techniques to handle that, as well as I'm a big believer in journaling, and I've written a lot of different types of journals to guide people. The fitness was secondary. So that to me was huge. I love that because now I could really get in. If you're coming to me to want to make those changes, and you're ready to do the work, that's when the magic happens.
Yes, I love how you said that's when the magic happens because it becomes a partnership. When someone is reaching out to you, it's because they need something that you're offering, but then you also need to hold them accountable and they must put in the work so y'all could do it together in order for really synergies to take place. Because what good is giving the information if you're not going to follow and allow that information to take root in you? And it's so cool to hear how your side business became your full-time business and your main gig, just to see that pivot and transformation there. And then I want to ask you another question as we begin to wind down. Is there anything else that I did not ask you, Sandy, that you think is relevant to add value to this conversation? Because our goal is to really bring education, inspiration, and motivation to let people know that we didn't always have it right, but we learned along the way and we perfected it. So we had that progression over perfection until it was time to fine tune it.
I think the biggest thing for me is for people to realize that they have a choice in how they start their day. You can't control a lot of things that are going on outside in the world, or sometimes even in your own home. But if I could get every single person, even for 30 seconds, before their feet hit the floor, to focus in, just think about it, focus in on one word of how you want to show up today. If you're in a really low space, then maybe you just want to say, you don't want to go all the way up to the next, like, oh, pure joy and fun, but maybe ease and flow or peace. If you already are amped up, then maybe your word is powerful, or it is pure joy, or fun, or love. I like to pick one word. You can stay with that word for 30 days, or you can switch it out. And it's not time consuming. Everything I teach, there's an and. I want you to do stuff that doesn't feel like I have to, I should, to shift your mindset. And then once you're in the mindset, then you can decide what else you're going to do. So if you get out of bed and your word is you're focusing on today is pure joy. All right. So that's what you're going for, right? Then you come down. That took you no time at all. You hit the alarm, whatever. If you could write in a journal, even for a minute, and just put your word down and a power statement to go with it. For example, if your word is pure joy, you're going to focus in on everything in that day that's going to bring you pure joy. Or it could be freedom, financial freedom. So as you go through, and maybe your power statement is everything I touch turns to gold, or I'm a powerful creator, whatever it is, it's not time consuming. But if you reflected on that throughout your day and just checked in every hour and say, okay, before I write this email, before I go on this podcast, before I talk to my kids, am I going to experience pure joy or freedom or love or ease and flow? I'm telling you, just doing that check-in every hour, just for a minute, and just reminding yourself of what you chose your word to be, how you chose to show up in the world, so that you don't get bat around like a ping pong ball, with everything going on. Yeah. Makes a huge difference in your life. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to work out, take a walk, meditate, but you're going to come from a space of, oh God, I have to meditate this way for this long. No. Is the meditation for me going to bring me ease and flow, pure joy? And I do this every single day, whether it's coming from my personal life or my business life. I choose the word and then I check in and said, whoa, am I there? And I don't judge myself when I'm not there. I just go, okay, right now I'm not feeling pure joy. I'm definitely coming from anxious, frustration, anger, and that's okay. What can I do to shift it out? I want to feel it, breathe through it, acknowledge it, not judge it. I'm just being, that's where the mindfulness is. It's not always being pippy skippy. It's just knowing when you're not and being okay with it and letting your body feel it and fully express it so that you can shift out of it quicker. So
I love that.
That's my goal, man. That's what I want to teach the world. That's easy, not time consuming, not rocket science.
And thank you for sharing that, Sandy. And I'm just going to add something onto the back end of that for our listeners and viewers. So for those of you listening, I want you to just clear your head, clear your space. And you could do that by grabbing a piece of paper and writing down all the thoughts that have popped into your head right now. And then just don't even think about them. Just when they pop in, just write it down. And then 5 minutes from that, set yourself a timer. I want you to go back and reflect on what you wrote down and ask yourself, why did I write this down? How do I feel when I think about this? And is this something that is adding value to me? Or is this something that is distracting or derailing me? So that's one exercise to do to practice that mindfulness. And the next exercise I want you to think about is going to be a challenge. I want you to set the timer on your phone for 5 minutes and practice this meditation. Close your eyes. And if you're watching the video, you see that I'm closing my eyes, and just say, for the next 5 minutes, I am going to be at peace with myself. I'm coming into my inward experience, and I'm only going to allow things that are adding value, things that are fueling me, and things that are getting me to operate as my full self with no distractions, no negativity, no negative vibrations, or no negative energy, and begin to recite your affirmations. I am loved. I am well. I am healthy. I am prosperous. I am blessed. I am gifted. I am talented. I am worthy. I am chosen. My health is where it's supposed to be. I am who I was created to be. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know what I was created to do, dot, 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 and you build upon it. And then whenever you come out of that, really pay attention to how your body feels. Are your shoulders relaxed? How is your breathing? Do you feel calmer? Do you feel at one with yourself? And you can begin to add on to that and just make it a daily practice. And sometimes if I'm busy, I'll just do it in the shower because there's no one else in the shower with me, or if I'm taking a bubble bath. But it's so important to carve out time for yourself, because if you don't practice self-care, self-love, and self-awareness, you're going to be burnt out. And what good are you going to be if you're burnt out? So now we're going to jump into our CTA, which is the call to action part of the segment. So Sandy, what is your call to action for our audience? Do you have an exercise or challenge similar to any of the ones I mentioned, or a different thing?
Oh, I want to go back to what I was talking about. I want to challenge them to pick a word and just even spend 30 seconds to 60 seconds before their feet hit the floor to focus in on how they want to show up in the world with that one word. That's what I want them to do for the next 30 days.
Amazing. And Sandy, how can our audience connect with you via your website, and where do you primarily hang out on social media?
Okay. Yeah, sandyjoyweston.com is my website, and everything is there. As far as social media, I'm very active on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Amazing. And there you have it, listeners. You just heard Sandy Joy Weston, who is here to spread joy, give you practical tips, and she challenged you to pick a word and spend time on that word. So every day before your feet hit the ground, spend 5 minutes on reciting that word, attracting the things around the word, and etc. for 30 days. And the reason why she said 30 days is because that's how habits are formed. You have to have consistency, persistency, and determination for it to stick. So there you go. And for those of you who have just listened to this segment, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're on 40 plus platforms. If you want to see the video to this, head on over to our YouTube channel, which is at GEMS, GEMS, with Genesis Amaris Kemp for all things video content. And lastly, but not least, where would I be without my supporters? You know I only think about you. Dot, dot, dot. I want to thank each one of you for supporting the guests that I bring on, as well as myself, to spread content that is educational, inspirational, and motivational while we're weaving in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Because of you, we're now ranked in the top 2% globally out of 2.8 million podcasts per www.listennotes.com. So if you want to have your products, your services, or brand heard right here, we are looking for brand sponsors. You can find more info by heading to genesisamarisKemp.net or sending me an email at genesisamarisKemp@gmail.com. So until the next episode, next guest, or solo episode, peace, love, and lots of blessings. Have yourself an amazing day and pay attention to your words, your breathing, and the energy that you have inside of you and around you. It truly makes a difference.